To style forms using custom HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, you'll need to use legacy forms that give you access to that raw code. And in this video, we're going to give you a tour of where you can go to build, customize, and publish legacy forms in Ontraport. But before we dive in, let's go over a few quick details about legacy forms. Now, just like Ontraport forms, these are for pop-ups and pages that aren't built inside of Ontraport. They also allow you to show and hide form fields as people fill out the form. This lets you show only the fields that are relevant for each person, depending on their answers, which can be a really nice experience. One last thing to note before we start, legacy forms are for web developers and those who need access to the raw code. So if that's not you, we recommend sticking with Ontraport forms. They make things a lot easier. But assuming you're ready, let's take a look around. Just like Ontraport forms, you create a new legacy form by clicking on Forms, then New Form, but this time select Smart Form. So you'll see a simple form with fields for first name, last name, and email address. From there, you can add more elements using this menu right above your form. So let's go over these different elements really quick. Click here to add fields to your form to gather more information from visitors. Note that you can add as many fields as you want. Click here to add content to your form. You can also add text, images, tables, and even raw code here. Just use the menu on the left to customize. You can add a separator to insert a simple divider and create more spacing on your forms. And you can actually use your forms to get paid. You can click here to add an Ontraport logo and affiliate link. And if somebody clicks on it and then becomes an Ontraport customer, you'll get a commission for the sale. Thanks in advance for that, by the way. If you want to sell stuff on your form, add credit card fields and a product grid by clicking here. You can also set if-then conditions for your form by clicking here. This is where you get into the showing and hiding of fields, and there are two ways to go about it. First, you can show or hide a field based on a person's response on the form here. So for example, let's say a fitness instructor has a pop-up form on her blog to collect names, email addresses, and fitness goals. When someone says they want to lose weight, the form could then show a new field that asks how much. Legacy forms also offer conditional redirects, which we discuss at length in another video. But it is a really cool feature. If you want to add a reCAPTCHA element to your form, click here. And this is useful if you get attacked by spam bots filling out your forms. You can turn this on to stop them. Usually they'll go away after a little while and you can turn it back off again. Finally, if you need to edit the style and appearance of your form, you'll want to use these three tabs to the left. Tweak your fields with the Field Settings tab. This lets you adjust your labels, placeholders, text, and even include pre-filled answers. You can use the Form Style tab to customize the look and feel of your form. You've got label style, spacing, how each field looks before it's selected, even the input style. There's a lot of good options here. Finally, use the Background tab to change the background color, add images, and even make border adjustments to the form as a whole. Your form settings are here. And again, we're going to go over these in another video, so make sure you check that out. Okay, we're moving right along. Now that you know how to create your legacy form, we only have one step left, and that is to publish it. Start by clicking on Publish in the top right corner. And you'll notice that there are a few different methods to choose from. First, you can publish the form yourself using one of our 4 code options. That includes a JavaScript snippet, Lightbox, iframe, or HTML. If you want a quick and easy way to add your form to a page, the JavaScript snippet is your best bet. You simply copy and paste the code wherever you want it to appear, and it'll show up on your page. Or maybe you want to use a Lightbox form that appears as a pop-up based on the triggers you configured. This is where that code comes in handy. You can also use the iframe option to protect the other content on your website from the form code. Now this is pretty old school and typically not necessary these days, so in most cases you'll be better off with one of the other 2 options we've already discussed. The last way to publish a legacy form is to use HTML. This lets you get access to the raw form code and add in your own as necessary. But keep in mind that it's generally not a good idea to use the HTML code unless you're a professional web developer. Because without a strong background in coding, your forms will probably be more vulnerable to spam submissions and other kinds of hacking. If you are familiar and comfortable with HTML, you can turn on access to this feature in the administration menu. Just go to Security, click here, and then toggle the switch off. If you don't want to install your form on your own, that's okay too. You have 2 more options in your legacy form publishing settings. If you're working with a webmaster, you can send the code directly to them by clicking here. You add in their email address and any relevant instructions. Or you can always keep things simple and click Host My Form. And this will generate a URL where you can see and fill out your form immediately. Can you believe it? We've covered every type of form that Ontraport has to offer. From pages to custom code, you can make forms anywhere and do almost anything. And speaking of anything, next up, we're going to look at some special use cases, starting with updating existing records in the next video.